I talk to the coolest people in the world, and that's it's one thing I say when I'm on a call. It's like, listen, I talk to billionaires, thousandaires, hundredaires, you name it. I talk to the best marketers in the world, and I also talk to the worst marketers in the world. But one of the things that I try to do in every conversation is get to the value of a domain name we're brokering. Hey, first of all, Chris Zuiker with Media Options, help companies acquire the raw version of the brand. Broken some of the best domain names on the planet. Check that out over at MediaOptions.com. Check out ChrisZuiker.com. Check my YouTube channel, my podcast. A lot of good information on domain names and valuing and appraisals and why you need to acquire your perfect domain name and how to sell your domain name. Okay, so we do both sides of the spectrum. 50% of our business in each of those. Actually, it's kind of going more towards the acquisition side, but we still sell quite a few domains. So I was on a call with an entrepreneur this week, and one of the things that we were talking about was like the pricing of this domain name. Right? He reached out. He's interested in the domain name, and I always bring it back to this thought. There's three conversations on pricing, and I've said this like multiple times. But the first one is like, what do you want to pay? Now, everyone would love to go into a Ferrari dealership and say, hey, I'll give you $80,000 for that puppy, and then walk out and then just be like the happiest person in the world, right? Because that's what they want to pay, right? The second thing is, what's the value to you, okay? What is the value to your company? Like, what is the true ROI? Now, I talk about the 7 dimensions. Download my book, domainnamebrokersecrets.com. Download it. Goes into each of these dimensions in detail with stories and a framework to look at your domain name. Now, the third one is, what do they want? What does the seller want to sell it for, okay? Domain names are not like houses, okay? They're not like cars. They're not like these other assets. They are assets in the true sense because they can be resold, and they're fundamental to a company's success and really foundation of their brand, okay? Branding online is just the new paradigm that we're in. But what do they want to sell it for? Now, what I see is that the true value for the company is 100x what the domain is selling for, okay? When they truly look at this, okay? And you don't look at it with a short time horizon, okay? Oh, well, in 3 months it's not there. It's like, hey, no, listen, this is your brand. Are you going to go out of business in 3 months? Okay. If you're not, like, how long do you anticipate your brand being alive for? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? You want to pass it down to your kids? Do you want to exit it and have it become this amazing brand? Well, guess what? Like this longer time horizon, you see the true value for your domain name. And then I go over some different exercises to look at that value. But it's very real. Like, when I call someone, that's my one objective, okay? Like, you can't hard sell a domain name. It just, like, especially domains in the value that we're selling them at, in the millions, hundreds of thousands, even like 5 figures, even 4 figures, right? You can't force someone to buy a domain name. They have to want it. They have to see the value in that domain name. And so my objective is just say, listen, I just want to just have a conversation on value. And if you can say at the end of this conversation, hey, Chris, based on our business model, our margins, it just doesn't, like, the value is down here. That's fine. We'll walk away and kind of meet back another day. But there's a value to the domain name as a broker. Like, I'm not wasting my time in talking to someone. And I want to get to that true value. I want to have them to see that, unlock it. And unfortunately, there's just a lot of noise out there, especially with branding agencies. A lot of branding agencies are like, oh, you don't need it, and they recommend like these crappy domains and brands, and then they end up suffering because they can't scale. So more to come. My hand's getting tired here. But if you found value in this, share it up. Download my book, domainnamebrokersecrets.com. Reach out to MediaOptions.com if you need to acquire a domain name. Love to help you, walk you through our 5-step stealth acquisition process. Trying to sell a domain name, reach out to me. We have the moneymaker process. The moneymaker method is what I call it. Love to help you either way.